The first step is to look at the wireframe and determine what are the collections that we need. Which tables will we want? Which data do we want to store? It seems like a user has to register and log in, so we need a table for users. And we need a table to store all the posts, and we need a table to store all the comments. Now that we know what tables that we want, let's first create those tables before we set up the relationships. So go to your MySQL workbench, create a new model, and name this schema, let's name it blog, and click add diagram. And we needed 3 collections, one being users, one being comments, and one being posts. Users, you need a primary ID for all your tables, auto increment, you need an email field, and let's make it varchar 255 just in case they have a really long email. And you need to store their password, varchar 255, and let's have a created at and updated at, just in case we need it. And the reason for this is, for example, some frameworks like Rails, it'll force you to use created at and updated at, and generally it's good to know when your data has been created and updated. Now that's the users table. Now let's work on our post table, ID, auto increment. It has a content inside of it. And since it can be a pretty long post, let's give it a data type of text. And we also need created at and updated at because it seems like the wireframe wants us to say when it was created. So we'll have created at, date time, updated at, date time. Okay, now let's work on our final table, which is going to be comments. And ID, auto increment, and it's just going to have a content. Let's limit the comments a little bit. Let's say 255 characters max. And let's have a created at, date time, updated at, date time. Okay, now that we have the collections all laid out, let's see how we can make relationships. So, does one user have many posts? Yes. Does one post have many users? No. So we'll set up the relationship. The one that has many part, you click on that first, and then you click users. Now this is one-to-many relationship. Now make sure you remember to rename this to user ID. These are one of the conventions we should follow, and it makes a lot more sense. This refers to one user in the users table. Can one user have many comments? Yes. Can one comment have many users? No. So we set up the relationship. One user has many comments. So I'm going to rename this again to user ID. Okay. Now can one post have many comments? Yes. Can one comment have many posts? That doesn't really make sense. So comments is a has many, and we link it to posts. And now we have one post has many comments relationship. And make sure you rename this to post ID. And this is the ERD for our wireframe that looks something like this.